Hello everybody, welcome to my review of The Wire Season 2, Episodes 1 through 6. Again, spoiler alert, if you want to watch the show, this is not the episode to watch. What I'm going to do is break down basically 85 to 95% scene by scene. Just anytime, again, a writer for a TV show would want the audience to see a plot change or just scene by scene anything they're talking about. So Season 1 ended with a bunch of people from Barksdale's crew going to jail. We have a new set of people. We have the Dock Boys is what I call them. But again, I have all the major police people, all of the major people from Barksdale's crew. And now for the Dock Boys, we have Frank Sobotka, Horseface, Nikki, aka Nico. He gets called both quite a bit. Ziggy, Frank is the head of a union and head of just like a pier, like a shipping pier. And Horseface is kind of his go-to criminal dude. These are criminals. Nikki is Frank's nephew. Ziggy is Frank's son. And Nikki, Ziggy, and Frank start out living together. Or maybe it's Nikki, Ziggy, and Nikki's parents. Yeah, I think Ziggy, Nikki live with Nikki's parents. And then you have Sergei Molotov. And I'm not sure if it's the Greek or they're all Greeks, but clearly Spiros Vonopoulos is obviously a Greek dude, but the major criminal is the Greek, and I think obviously this guy's Greek, obviously this guy's probably Russian or something, but it's either a group of Greek criminals and maybe one Israeli or something, or just a group of criminals and the head guy's called the Greek. Just not exactly sure. But so episode 1 starts off with Mcnulty opens the season by being on the water patrol at a pier, offers to tow a broken down boat in the shipping channel. Again, at the end, I forget if Rawls or Burrell were all mad, but they basically have separated the whole investigative unit that brought on the Barksdale's case, and Mcnulty is now on the water as punishment. Prez wants to work with narcotics, not auto crime, and he is Valchek's, I think, nephew, but Valchek basically says, no, you're going to work with me. Bodie and a new guy are driving a white transport van, gets tailed by someone. Bunk wants to know if Mcnulty has communication with Omar. Bunk needs Omar's testimony to put Bird away, who was convicted of killing a state's witness in Season 1. The channel workers complain, the Dock Boys complain about the Grand Pier operation. One worker lost the location for a crate. Ziggy, his dad, runs the shipping yard. The Grand Pier, basically all of the dock people are always worried about just getting enough shift and enough hours. So more ships, more hours, more work. Bunk runs into Lieutenant Daniels in the evidence basement. They talk about Bird's trial. Bodie loses a package in a red sedan. Greggs is now in the forfeiture department. And Lieutenant Daniels is down in the basement, the evidence locker for punishment. Greg's got shot up, obviously, in Season 1, so she's on the desk duty now. Bodie and 3 others are grilled by Stringer over the lost package. The tail was Stringer and Avon's lookouts. Basically, Stringer had somebody, Bodie's in a red sedan, there's another white car trailing them, some sort of drug transport, and then they lose the package, but it was really just Stringer saying how solid they were, testing them out. And they passed. The shipyard crews clown each other at the bar. They have it's like a Clement Street bar, the one they always go to with Dolores, and Ziggy pulls out his dick. That seems to be a recurring theme. He likes to do dick pics and pull out his wiener. But he's literally at the bar, they're all just clowning each other, rough and tumble, after work crew, and he just pulls out his wiener. So that's pretty fun. Mcnulty finds a body in the canal. Stringer visits Avon in jail. Avon's in jail for 7 years. D'Angelo's in jail for 20 years. After the convictions of Season 1, they paid someone and have not received drugs. Roberto, and that's the main plug for the Barksdale crew. Basically, Roberto is skeptical. He's not accusing Barksdale crew of anything, but he's very skeptical of why their sentences are so light, thinking they might be cooperating. Ziggy and his cousin meet with someone about a deal. The body is a homicide. The body in the water found by Mcnulty, who they thought at first was just a jumper from the bridge. Roberto, the drug supplier, is suspect about why Avon's sentence is so light, and the dockyard cop finds bodies in the shipping container, and there are 13 females. There's a new police. She's just like the dock patrol. Her name is Russell. Her last name is Russell. But they basically find a container full, they call them cans, with literally 13 dead females. That's the end of episode 14, or the season 1, or season 2, episode 1, episode 2. Officer Russell and the PD investigate, decide it's not a crime. Originally they think it's, again, like not like murder or not intentional. Frank and the dock boys are Polacks, Polish people. That hasn't really, they point that out quite a few times. But the port dock lead grills the Greeks. Again, I'm not sure if it's the Greek or they're all Greeks about the bodies. Basically, what's happening is Frank Sobotka he runs a union for the dock and runs the dock, but he's just basically allowing the Greek people and the Israelis to move cargo, and they do drugs, guns, all sorts of different things. But he doesn't really know like what's in the containers. But he just lets them. He uses horse face to basically let them transport things under the radar. Avon gives Auntie, I think her name is Brianna. It's the D'Angelo's mom, another plug from prison because Roberto won't see them. The port boys get parking tickets. And I think Carver's on that patrol. But basically, I forget why, but one of the police, I think Valchek is, it's over a stained glass window for the church. Basically, I think Valchek and Sobotka want to like literally make, Sobotka clearly has a connection to the church. Valchek is getting in there too, but basically it's like who can have like a stained glass window put up. So I think that's what's going on there. Weebay's cell gets searched. Basically one of the dudes Weebay killed, his like cousin or something is like a cell guard or correctional officer. Mcnulty meets with Russell's doing paperwork, connects the murder to the crate girls. There's 14 bedrolls in the crate of the dead bodies, and 14 bedrolls and 13 bodies, and then they realized the crate was sabotaged. Basically, they were, I think it gets to it more explicitly, but the girls are prostitutes or being raped or something. One of them was like raped too bad in something, so the dude threw her overboard, and then the other chick saw it, so he like pounded down the breathing hole in the crate, and so that's how they know it's a murder. Police suspect Frank in some sort of dirt. Valchek gets support from Burrell. Lieutenant Daniels tells his wife he's leaving PD. Daniels is in the basement. He's basically like, I have a law degree. Why would I do this? And Valchek is suspect of Frank for having money after the stained glass window. Ziggy proposes a drug sale to Nikki. Ziggy proposed Nick. I'm assuming it's Nico Derme, maybe. But he refuses. The port boys chug beers with eggs before work, and they hit a DWI checkpoint. Basically, they all just like literally put a raw egg in their beer and just chug it and then go to work, and then they hit a DWI checkpoint. Clearly, again, Valchek just like messing with them. Rawls keeps the 13 bodies out of his department. Basically, he doesn't want murders. Rawls is the head of the homicide department. He doesn't want murders that he can't solve. Mcnulty wants to change that and gets Rawls stuck with the investigation. Basically, they have a debate of where the shipping container was found, for whose jurisdiction for the investigation, and because Mcnulty is getting shitted on in doing the boat patrol, he does some 3-hour research to say that it was for sure in Rawls' department. And McNulty is still friends with Bunk and Lester and Jay and the other dudes in the office. He's just like, they're all still kind of friendly, but it's just like friendly fucking you at work kind of deal. Stringer secures a supply from Atlanta. Lester and Bunk get the Jane Doe's. Lester, yep, and Russell. McNulty tells Rhonda if his ex wants to patch things up, he will go for it. Basically, McNulty and Rhonda, who is the state's attorney or district attorney, they're still banging it out every now and again. But Rhonda's like, what are we? And he's like, if Elena, my ex-wife, wants to get back together, I'm going to go for it. The dock boys steal a white police van, a surveillance van. Valchek puts Prez in charge of Frank Sobotka's investigation. Someone gets beat up, and basically the dock boys are getting back at Valchek. Someone gets beat up and kidnapped from the port. The ship captain, it was the ship captain with the girls on it. He's tortured naked. The Jane Doe in the channel was killed while being raped by the ship's crew. The others saw, so he killed them all by hammering down the breathing hole. Then Sam's throat is cut. Basically, these Greek dudes, whoever's doing the shipping, they basically torture and kill. They kidnap, torture, and kill the ship's captain or whoever the guy. I think Sam was the guy who raped the girl or something. Basically, cost them. I didn't write down the numbers. But it was like I think $4 million a year. Like on the beach prostitute or something. It was like a good amount of money for like the 13 chicks. So that's payback there. Episode 16, or episode 3. Omar and his new boyfriend plot a robbery. They see females hitting the same mark with a laundry basket. Basically, they're escaping out a robbery target and they see somebody else rob the dudes, and now they're like, let's go rob the chicks. Bunk, Lester, and Russell struggle to get people to talk. Everyone on the boat is giving them, no English, and they're all just speaking different languages. Nikki has baby mama drama. Basically, he has a wife and a kid, and she wants to, have him move out of his parents' house to get their own place, but he doesn't have any money. Omar and his boyfriend rob the females. PD lets the ship leave the port. Basically, they only had jurisdiction to hold the ship for a couple days, and so they had to let it go. Valchek hears a $120,000 surveillance van is missing. Prison guard harassing Wee-Bey is selling drugs inside the prison. So that's the guy who tossed Wee-Bey's cell. But he's 100% distributing drugs. He basically sneaks it in through like candy wrappers or something. But the correctional officer is selling drugs inside the prison. Mcnulty's ex serves him with a separation agreement. Stringer gets further product from Atlanta. McNulty gets some information on the girls from the medical examiner. Basically where they got their boob jobs in Budapest and what type of sex they had, or how they were abused. Omar, his boy, a woman rob an older dude. Basically some woman with a chick goes up to a door, drug dealer or something. The drug dealer has his house pretty boarded up, opens up the door, and then Omar and his boy jump in and rob the guy. Frank goes to a fundraiser/meeting to get votes to help the port in some sort of union meeting with delegates and representatives and politicians. Stringer tells Dee's baby mama to keep Dee solid while doing the 20 years. He bangs her. Valchek, they're clearly a thing. Valchek gets a picture mailed to him with the port boys shipping the surveillance van. Basically, it's like, haha, fuck you. Avon tells Dee to stop doing drugs for a couple days. D'Angelo's either doing heroin or cocaine, so he's doing some sort of drug in the prison. Nikki and Ziggy steal a crate of cameras. They sell them for $200,000, $200,000 up front. Valchek wants real. They reroute a shipping container and take a bunch of cameras because Nikki doesn't want to do drugs or sell drugs. Valchek wants real solid cops from Burrell, who's likely to be the next police commissioner. Basically, he gets a bunch of whack jobs at the beginning and they're all not doing shit. So he's like, give me some real good cops. A lot of inmates overdose. They're called hot shots after Avon told Dee not to do drugs for a couple days. In a play against the guard, I haven't as question mark. It turns out it's to get lower sentences. If Avon can point out somebody who's distributing the drugs, killing people, he can get cooperation. He can get time off of his sentence. And it's clearly Avon doing the poisoning. Frank wants Nikki to return the cameras, but they're already gone, and gets grilled out by Frank a little bit. Burrell offers a major role to Lieutenant Daniels for helping Valchek. Remember, Daniels was going to leave. Daniels accepts as long as he can pick his own people. McNulty says he never lost Omar, but then goes looking for him. D'Angelo calls out Avon about the ODs. Avon kind of denies it, not really, but just like, oh, don't worry about it. But says knowing who did it will help lower their sentences. Dee tells Avon he's done working with them altogether. Nikki and Ziggy are told not to spend cash. Ziggy buys a $2,000 leather jacket. Rawls is upset. Bunk and Lester don't hold the ship. The Greek offer to buy chemicals from the docks through Nikki and Ziggy because the camera sale went well. McNulty sees Bubbles and Johnny stealing, tells them to find Omar. So obviously McNulty was lying about knowing Omar, or where he was. Rawls approves Daniel's request, except for McNulty, for the detail. Greggs arrests a frat boy in a traffic jam. Basically, Kima Greg's with her wife or girlfriend is in the car, and there's just some dude in traffic, and her wife's like, Kima, you just got shot up, you shouldn't be a cop anymore, shouldn't be out on the streets, and she's just still in the cop mentality. Zig'S container supplier, the Central Tower, doesn't have the chemicals. Again, they have some third dude who's Ziggy and Nikki have some third guy that like runs the traffic controlling, that they can see what's in the crates and stuff, but they don't have any chemicals. Another controller calls out Ziggy for stealing a can. Basically, when they go to see this guy, Ziggy's got his jacket on, some other guy directly spills coffee on him and directly calls him out for stealing stuff. String has a dude plant dirty heroin in the correctional officer's car. Remember, the correctional officer is actually selling drugs, but Stringer has the one of these dudes plant the dirty heroin in the car. Gets Avon's bid down to a year. They come outside, Avon says there's certainly going to be drugs in this guy's car, and then they find the drugs that was planted. Mcnulty gets the name of a church off a letter from a Jane Doe. Mcnulty has, again, some personal, he's like, I found them, or I know them, so he's got some, moral response to, let's find the families just to let them know what happened. Nikki and his girl and a kid look to buy a house. Dope is found in Dwight's car, that's the correctional officer. Ziggy put a dick pic on the controller who spilled coffee on his jacket. Ziggy goes back to the controller tower, and again, here's his wiener again, but he just uploads a dick pic as the background for the guy's desktop picture. Prez Bellucci, Daniels, Greg's, Kirk are reunited in Valchek's detail. Now the original, everyone but Mcnulty, the original investigation for Barksdale, they're all reunited, they're all excited to be working together. Omar pulls up on Bubbles and Johnny after female stick-up partner overhears Omar's name in a junkie house. Basically, Bubs and Johnny are back in the picture now, and McNulty caught them stealing, so he's like, find Omar, and I won't do anything about this. And they're just shooting up heroin in some dope house, and one of the female stick-up chick with Omar just is also in there and just overhears his name. Episode 5, Ziggy is selling drugs and gets shortchanged and then jumped by his supplier for the deficit. They steal his car. And the guy's name is Cheese, and he works under Proposition Joe, who was the East Side's basketball coach, who's also a big-time, full-time criminal, but the basketball dude from season 1. But again, Ziggy got fronted a package. The dudes he's dealing with, I think directly shortchange him, but he's not doing well in the drug game. But he's just short money. Daniels takes Carver back despite reporting to higher ups last operation. Right, like last time, Daniels was mad that Carver, Herc's partner, was reporting to Valchek or to Rawls or Burrell, basically behind his back. But Daniels says, "You won't caught you once. I think you're not stupid enough to do it again." Bubbles gives McNulty a contact number for Omar. Basically, after the stick-up chick hears his name, Omar pulls up on Bubbles with a shotgun, basically saying, keep my name out your mouth, like, what's going on? But he gets a contact number for McNulty. McNulty and Omar are pretty cool. Rawls takes Lester off the Jane Does. Now it's just Bunk's cases, which doesn't actually turn out. Lester's clearly still working on it, but I'm not. He takes somebody off the case, but Lester goes to Valchek's group led by Daniels. Brianna visits Dee in jail. Brianna is D'Angelo's mom. Or no, Brianna's his baby mama, the one's now banging Stringer. But Lester's clearly still working on the Jane Does, the unidentified female bodies, so I'm not sure what exactly happened there. Nikki can't cover Zig's $2,700 because he rented an apartment with his girl. Right? Ziggy needs money to cover the lost package. Valchek gets a fingerprint off a van picture. Basically, they keep sending Valchek, the dock boys keep sending Valchek pictures of the van being shipped away, the $120,000 surveillance van. Bunk and Russell serve summons to every dock worker that might know something about the girls. The only one who does is Horseface, and that's just more so of which containers are being illegally distributed. Omar makes a statement to the DA, and they want him to dress up a little nicer, but the trial's pretty funny. Herc, Greggs, and Carver get hand-to-hand deals documented. Again, they're just starting to investigate again, seeing if Sobotka has anything in his hand in the drug game. Nikki tries to get Zig's car back. Cheese burns it. Russell gets info about computer records from an old lover. Basically, Nikki tries to get the car. Cheese is like, he owes me the $2,700, double that, and the car's worth nothing, and they just show him burning it. But Russell, they ask Russell if she has any confidential informants on the docks, and she's like, no. And she meets up with someone she clearly had a relationship with, and I forget, and he tells her about, how the computer system works. The Greek denies a meeting with Frank, but doubles his fee. Frank says he's done. Basically saying, I'm done, helping you do this stuff. And he's like, I'm going to double your fee. And he still says no. There's another scene with Nikki, meeting without Frank with the Greeks and asking about the chemicals. So Nikki's not really sure, doesn't know that Frank says he's done. Stringer changes the name and branding of the low-quality dope. Basically, they're having trouble getting supplies from Roberto. He's not doing it anymore. Their shit from Atlanta sucks. So he's like, again, he went to his macroeconomics class and he's going to school now to get better at business. But they have a meeting with all the dope boys and they're like, yeah, man, let's rebrand it. We'll change the color. We'll have different, brands for each house or towers, because we had the towers from season 1. And anytime someone has bad dope, they'll just go to the other one and think it's different, and it's just not. So they're making plays on the shitty dope. Nikki agrees to deliver the chemicals. They basically research it and find out it's for drug processing. They were kind of wary about it. Nikki and Ziggy were if it was for like bombs. Frank accepts triple rate, I think. So again, Nikki comes back to Frank with at the end of episode 5. It was like, here's the crates for the ones that we're going to be moving today. Unbeknownst to him, Frank said he's done. Nikki says it's triple the rate, and then Frank is like, put horse on it. So it sounds like he accepts it, but then he screams and it's like, I thought we were done or something like that. So it wasn't really clear if it was done or not, but it seems like he's still doing it, just not super excited about it. So final episode 6, Omar testifies against Bird wearing a nice tie. Basically, the district attorney wants him to dress up nice because he's a dope boy where he robs drug dealers. I think the actual scenes of him testifying are hilarious. But he literally just has a big dope boy outfit on and then just puts a tie on. It's pretty funny. And then Bird gets upset in the trial. Basically, he just testifies against Bird and gets him convicted. PD hasn't found much on Sobotka and keep investigating. Nikki asks the Greek for muscle to confront Cheese and agrees to help with the chemicals again. Basically, Nikki and Ziggy can't take on Proposition Joe's crew by himself, but the Greeks can, so they help him out. Mcnulty gets a date with Elena, his ex-wife. The Greeks pull up on Cheese, and this is also with Sergey. He's kind of the main muscle dude so far. And he's the guy that I think cut the throat of the Sam, the ship captain. They pull up on Cheese and get an agreement, and they pull guns on him. An agreement they'll pay for the burnt car, and Ziggy won't pay $5,400. Basically, instead of owing $5,400 and being out of car, they negotiate it so because the Greeks know Proposition Joe, that the Cheese will pay Ziggy $2,700 or $2,400 or something. Kima goes to a strip club with her wife to inquire about the girls, with Presbelucci as well. And Kima's a lesbian, so her wife is not happy about going to the booty club, the titty club, to investigate. PD looks for a pattern in the lost cans with the Manifest software, and then they get some good results. Basically, shipping containers, Frank tells them, shipping containers actually get lost, they actually get re-entered, stuff like that, and they just find a pattern where it's clearly like these ones don't get re-entered for 3, 4, 5 hours, or not at all. So those are the suspect ones. Bird is convicted of first-degree murder. Again, has some words with Omar going out of the courtroom. But I think he gets sentenced to life because he's not the second coming of Jesus. He's the Judge Phelan. I don't have him up here, but he's like, are you the second coming of Jesus? If not, you're not getting bail and you're going to be sentenced for life. But then he gets convicted and he has to wait for sentencing. Sergey gets Proposition Joe, Cheese's boss, to pay the $2,400 for the car. D tells his mom to have Stringer, Avon, and Darnett, or some other third person that was, I guess, big in the Barksdale crew, to let him be. Another inmate is clearly eavesdropping, like on the prison phones with a meeting. Russell, and like the dude's just overheard another little cubicle meeting with somebody else. Russell and Lester find Talco, the shipping line where containers don't get re-entered into the system, and Horse is always the one working when the cans come. So starting to get a little progress on their investigation. Elena rejects getting back together on their date, but they still bang one out. Like, Mcnulty really wants to get back together, and she's like, no, but how about a fuck for the road? So they bang one out, and then the next day, he gets kicked out early because Elena doesn't want their two sons to think they're getting back together. Nikki, and Zig'S sell chemicals to the Greek and the Israelis for half cash and half heroin. They deliver the chemicals, and they're offered to pay, full price in cash, or basically 4 or 5 times the value in heroin, but they would have to sell it. So it goes for half cash and half heroin. So now, and Nikki's running things, Ziggy's just along, but they work together, and clearly he's in charge, but now Nikki's clearly getting into the drug game as well. D is strangled to death by the eavesdropper and set up to look like a suicide. D's in his, never said he's going to rat or anything, but just said he's completely done. And then, again, the dude heard him on the phone, and he's like, he does something in the library for the prison, and one of the dudes goes in, strangles him, and ties him up to make it look like he hung himself. And that is the end of episode 6. So my final thoughts, I'm actually enjoying the season 1 even a little better than season 1. I think the Doc Boys crew is better than just the Pit group. But I think last time I gave it either B or B+. I'll keep it at a B+. Or certainly B+, if it was that last time. Again, I do enjoy it. I kind of look forward to watching the next episodes, whereas Breaking Bad, I was just trying to get through the shit, but I actually enjoy watching this one. So B+, highly entertaining, definitely recommend. Nothing super novel, but certainly enjoying it. So I'll get you back on the second part with the last 6 episodes of Season 2, and I hope you go check out The Wire, Season 2, Episodes 1 through 6. Thanks for watching.